roast some insects, and partake in a little kidnapping, this is an episode that would make even Freddy Krueger blush.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Hey Frumily, we got quite the episode for you this week, lots to talk about. As always, this is not a recap of the show, but an in-depth look at some of the biggest mysteries, theories, and clues. As always, I've left timestamps in the description below so you can see all the topics I'll be covering. Now get ready, the sun's about to go down. I actually wanted to start off with the ending of last episode and an apology. For whatever reason, the version I got did not have the final VFX of this ghost. So while you guys saw this, I saw this. That's a big thing to miss for a guy who breaks down this show. Fortunately, you're not missing too much, since we find out in this episode that it was all a dream. So this ghost, which seems to be wearing a top that looks a lot like Fatima's, makes sense because dreams often pull elements of our real life into them, and we know that Elgin had been hanging out with Fatima a lot. Now this leads into the beginning of episode 8 and Kenny's dream. Right off the bat, we can tell something is off because the phones in town do not work, yet Kenny's rings. He picks it up to hear a cryptic rhyme stating, "They touch, they break, they steal, no one here is free, here they come for three, unless you stop the melody." I actually want to start backwards here, as I think it'll give us a clearer picture of what's going on. The last line reads, "Unless you stop the melody," a reference to the ballerina music box. Then, "They come for three." Currently, there have been 4 people who have had a music box dream: Boyd, Marielle, Kenny, and Elgin. Boyd, however, transferred his blood over, which seems to have stopped these dreams, leaving Marielle, Kenny, and Elgin as the 3 that they are coming for. But who are they? All we know about them comes from Martin, who says they're worse than the monsters roaming about town. So we haven't seen these guys yet, but it looks like they need 3 people to get chained up in those ruins that Boyd found in episode 2, since Martin and the other 2 corpses are now dead. This ties into the line, "No one here is free," a reference to the chained bodies and to the broader population of the town. Perhaps this is why the weather is changing. These 3 bodies had kept the town in a perpetual state of summer, but with them now dead, it's causing a lot of change which Viktor says is not good. And finally, they touch, they break, they steal. This could be a reference to Marielle, Kenny, and Elgin, who have all done at least one of these things. Marielle stole the morphine, Kenny broke Sarah's ornament, and Elgin touched Sarah, not physically, but emotionally. He cheered her up when no one in town wanted to be near her and even stole food for her. So it seems these 3 people possess one, if not all 3 of these traits: touching, breaking, stealing. We learn from Martin in episode 2 that he got caught while going through one of the faraway trees. He says, quote, "That's when they get you." So it's possible whoever wants to capture these guys will be putting more and more pressure on them to escape via one of these trees, where they'll then be captured, just like Boyd was at the end of season 1. So this rhyme comes during a dream, dreams which several of our characters have experienced. But what makes these dreams even creepier is how they seep into the real world. When Elgin awakes from his drowning dream, real water comes out of his mouth. When Kenny awakens from his dream, he has a burn mark on his arm from the cicada that jumped out of the boiling pot of water. If these dreams get worse and worse, it could get to the point where these guys stop sleeping, perhaps even go mad and take drastic measures to escape, such as taking a faraway tree, which is exactly what they want them to do. Now, it's also possible that these dreams are clues. When Boyd was haunted by the ballerina, she showed her arm, almost as if wanting him to know that his blood was the key to killing Smiley. Kenny is haunted by the insects, the same insects that covered Smiley's dead body, perhaps indicating that something about this body is important, aka the bile. Elgin has a weird drowning dream, and we know he's had an odd fascination with the pond. And finally, Marielle has a dream where Smiley is shot at. Is it just a coincidence then that this episode is the first to propose shooting the monsters with bile-covered bullets? And just a quick reminder before we get into more theories, if you like these types of videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Every little bit helps the channel out. Jim continues to push the theory that this town is all part of some experiment, and now that he's teamed up with Randall, things really start to get out of hand. Last episode, Randall theorized that if this is indeed an experiment, then it would make sense that some of the townsfolk are in on it. He even goes one step further, stating that no one has actually ever died, that those who seemingly died were in on it and their bodies somehow replaced. I don't know, it seems super far-fetched even for me, but put yourself in Randall's shoes. He just saw Donna dispose of a body, something that was hidden from the rest of the townsfolk. This is partly why he ties her up at the end of the episode. He and Donna have been at each other's throats ever since he arrived. After all, it was Donna who kicked him out of Colony House and put him on that bus. So he wants to interrogate Donna for being one of those townsfolk who is quote-unquote in on it. But it could be far more sadistic than that. Randall might want to use Donna as bait to lure the monsters and see a real-life kill in person. He and Jim did mention that the next step would be to observe the monsters and how they act when no one is watching. We also see the next step in Jim and Randall's plan to attach an antenna onto the drone. It makes me think we might hear that voice Jim heard at the end of season 1 again. If I see Jade bully Viktor one more time, I swear to God. Speaking of which, Jade suggests that this whole town runs on chaos theory, that even though some things may seem random or chaotic, there are actually patterns and rules hiding within them. I gotta say, Jade is on a fast track to going into these caves and finding out for himself just what the hell is going on, and I for one am all for it. Now Jade is pissed at Viktor because they made a deal that if Jade played his mother's song, that Viktor would tell him everything about that symbol. But Jade learns that Viktor left out the fact that the symbol was also seen in that cave. Viktor has been keeping a lot from Jade, but as we'll find out, he's been keeping a lot from himself too, purposely blocking off the memory of his mother and sister. I mean, up until this point, we never even knew he had a sister. According to Viktor, he, his sister Eloise, and mother Miranda, whose name we can see here in the credits, were to go home the night the bad things happened, but it seems Christopher had other plans. Viktor was supposed to protect his sister and hide out in the cellar, but Eloise ran after her mother and he froze, waking up in the morning to find the entire town dead. No word yet if he ever found Eloise's body. Super weird is where Viktor chose to hide Eloise's drawings, in the trunk of Christopher's car. Why put your apparently dead sister's drawings in the trunk of a man's car who supposedly murdered the entire town? One shot that's been on my mind is Jade looking at Christopher's car in episode 5. I wonder if he ever inspected it or bothered to look in the trunk. Now there are some interesting crayon drawings here, yet nothing quite revelatory. We have sad people on a bus, someone shooting some other people, the bottle tree, and Civil War soldiers. We can infer then that Eloise had seen the Civil War soldiers that Jade did in season 1. The most important drawing, however, is that of the lighthouse, the one we saw in the season 1 finale. According to Viktor, that's where his mother went the night the bad things happened, to save the children locked in the tower. And who happens to be haunted by children? Well, Tabitha. And who also happened to have a dream in season 1 where she climbs up a lighthouse tower? Tabitha, a tower littered with children's toys. These kids are yearning for her to help them, and the fact they claw at her jacket, a jacket found in the secondhand barn, leads me to believe that jacket once belonged to Viktor's mother. Tabitha's bracelet, the one she made for Jim and magically found in the diner in season 1 episode 6, is the same bracelet we see Miranda wearing. Something is guiding Tabitha to that lighthouse to help those kids, just like it guided Miranda decades ago. Something is guiding Jade to obsess over the symbol, just like it guided Christopher decades ago. As chaos theory would suggest, this may all seem random, but is all part of a beautifully orchestrated puzzle. I think we can officially say that the town has healing properties with just how quickly Ellis has healed. I mean, the guy should still be bedridden after being brutally stabbed in the chest. Ellis is just about to tell Boyd that Fatima's pregnant, but doesn't quite get to it, with Fatima stating that it was physically impossible for her to get pregnant. It's possible the town has healed her too. The second last scene of the episode sees this man come out of his house covered in blood, accompanied with the sound of cicadas. This is Reggie, who you may recall seeing briefly in episode 5. He and his partner and her sister have taken over the house that once belonged to Sarah, so either something supernatural happened here, or Sarah has come back to take revenge, giving her an excuse to run off into the forest. Remember, she told Boyd that she doesn't belong here and wants to go back out there, but how killing someone plays into that remains to be seen. Maybe she returned to pick up something and got in a fight with the residents in there, who knows? But now I turn it over to you. What are your big theories? I want to hear them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
Welcome to my world.